This is Markin Out. Pro Wrestling Talk by Pro Wrestling fans. We marking out, y'all. Follow on Twitter. Pro Wrestling Talk by Pro Wrestling fans. We marking out, y'all. Marking Out. Pro Wrestling Talk by Pro Wrestling fans. We marking out, y'all. Brennan likes fisting. Pro Wrestling Talk by Pro Wrestling fans. We marking out, y'all. We're marking out. Pro Wrestling Talk by Pro Wrestling fans.
Welcome to Markin Out, Pro Wrestling Talk by Pro Wrestling fans. This is episode 759. Make sure that you check us out on all of the platforms that you are listening to the podcast. Subscribe, download, and give us a 5-star rating to go with that 5-star frog splash, especially on that Spotify. And FYI, we are the only Markin Out podcast. That being said, buy a t-shirt, prowrestlingtees.com/markinout for supporting the OGs. Also, make sure you give a follow on Instagram at markinout11, on TikTok at markinout, on Twitter or X at markinout. Give us a like on Facebook. That's right, we've been around long enough that we actually have a Facebook page. And also, you could check me out on all social media platforms at David PTDPT. Follow Chris at CMSweeney85 on Instagram and Chris Sweendog on X. And also follow Brandon at BTTG161. Brandon, how are you?
I'm doing awesome as always. How about yourself?
I am doing great. Doing great. How was your week?
It was pretty good. I've been rewatching Entourage when I have nothing else to watch, and I unfortunately finally made it to the series finale again, which I hate when it happens because I always think they should have had more episodes in the last season. It's been 10 years since the movie came out, and I really wish there was more. I desperately wish there was more Entourage.
It's kind of surprising. I feel like everybody from that show never really went on to do anything else.
Yeah, I don't know. Not really. Not much. I saw Kevin Dillon is about to be at an autograph signing in New Jersey that is ran by the big event that all the wrestlers do in New York.
Exactly.
It's gonna be a TV version, so I thought that was pretty cool. But yeah, I don't know. They haven't really done. I know. What's his name? Jeremy Piven has done stuff, but not a lot of stuff.
Yeah, really, not as much as they probably all should have.
Yeah,
I feel. Even the main star,
Adrian Grenier, Vinny Chase, Baby Bro.
Yeah. Should have done more.
Yeah. But I really do wish there was so much more Entourage. But I also made brown butter Rice Krispie treats this week. Previously, years ago, I had tried to make Rice Krispie treats, and it didn't really come out great. Which I feel like it's one of the easiest things to make, but this was so much better than I could have hoped for. I had marshmallows that were expiring, so I figured I would try to make them again. For a first attempt, I think they came out pretty good. I think it needed more salt, but because the Summer House ones are good, I was like, let me make brown butter and try this. So I was pleased. I wish they were more uniform, but I would really like to see step-by-step instructions on how they first do it.
That would be pretty interesting.
Yeah, so I thought brown butter was going to be way more difficult than it actually was.
Mm-hmm.
I always thought it was so much more difficult. It's just literally just letting it sit after it melts till it gets brown.
That sounds pretty good, though.
Yeah.
Tasted good?
And yeah, I'm very pleased with them.
There you go.
But how was your week?
Nice. My week was very good. It was very relaxing. Went to meet up with a few cousins and everything. And yeah, got to enjoy some Triplemania though.
Yeah, Triplemania. They had that opening video package with Rey Mysterio narrating it. Then Triple H, Shawn Michaels, Maricel Pena, Dorian Roldan, Alberto Fasa, as well as Nick Khan were in the ring for the national anthem. I think Latin Lover and El Fiscal might have been also in the ring. They didn't get nameplates. Conan ended up being on commentary with Corey Graves and JBL, so I thought that was... I think he did so much better this time than not to say he wasn't good at Worlds Collide. It was just like he was giving a lot of information. I think it was much better.
Sometimes I feel like they try to be unintentionally. They end up being overly smart.
I think
where they try to.
I think he just wants everybody to know everything.
That makes sense. I mean, but on the other hand, that's something I didn't like about Matt Stryker.
Oh well.
Well,
the first match kicked off with a big surprise. It was Omos picking up the victory in their Copa Bardal, which is their version of a Royal Rumble, but you're able to eliminate opponents via over the top or pinfall. You had La Parka and Laredo Kid start it, and I was very, very curious to hear what La Parka's theme song would be, to see if they would do a knockoff of Thriller. So they did do a knockoff of Thriller for him.
Yeah.
But you had the LWO, you had Abismo Negro, you had Taurus, you had Aerostar. Taurus, by the way, caused some controversy on the internet because Beast Mortos, Black Taurus, everyone's like, nah, AAA is ripping him off. They don't understand wrestling.
It's as if they don't know the history of list any single AAA wrestler name.
La Parka.
Mystico.
There were three different, Mystico as well, yeah.
I mean, Pentagon Jr.
No.
Didn't they have a few of them?
Pentagon.
Actually, no. Pentagon.
Octagon Jr., I think there were either 2 or 3. Mm-hmm. There were multiple Pentagons.
Pentagon, yeah, that's the one I was thinking.
Pentagon Jr., though, is just Penta, if I'm not mistaken.
No, I think you're correct with that.
Mecha Wolf.
I meant Pentagon, but... Huh?
I was going to say Mecha Wolf was also in this, who I had... In my memory, it was like... When they first said it, I wasn't sure. He was an alternate in the Cruiserweight Classic. But now I'm starting... I don't know if I'm having false memories of remembering him being... having NXT matches or not. You had Otis. He was a surprise entrant, too. Got a huge pop. You had Pimpinella Escarlata, which was really cool to see them in there. Cibernetico was there. Microman, Octagon Jr. I think the stuff with Otis and Pimpy was a lot of fun. The stuff with Omos and Microman, I thought was probably some of the best stuff you see on Lucha Libre.
I mean, that was incredible and so entertaining.
But the match came down to La Parka, it came down to Omos, and they did a good job at making it look like La Parka would win that, but I think once Omos was there, you had to give him that victory.
Yeah, you had to have known that he was going to pick up the victory in that one.
After that, though, you had El Hijo de Dr. Wagner Jr. pick up the victory over El Macias to become the new AAA Latin American champion. My only mark-out moment of the week this week, I'll say it now, is Dr. Wagner Jr. being there. Because I didn't expect him to be there. I thought that was awesome. But Dorian Roldan got involved multiple times. And then Dr. Wagner Jr. finally got involved. He was in the crowd. And the crowd went absolutely nuts when he got into that action. And after a second Wagner driver, El Hijo de Dr. Wagner Jr. won his first championship in AAA.
That's awesome. And then El Messias, I feel like he was really good in TNA wrestling. When he had that run, when he first came in, I feel like he was just he could have been a bigger star.
He worked every promotion there was at a certain point. I'm almost certain. Did he work ECW too, I think?
For some reason, I I do remember him doing but it was like a one-off thing.
We've seen him TNA, Wrestling Society X. Like literally.
Yeah, he used to come out and spit out the stuff from his mouth.
Yeah.
Good stuff. But next up, you had the Judgment Day pick of the victory over Lola Vice, Nino
Hamburguesa?
Yeah, that one. And Mr. Iguana in a trios match. This was very entertaining. Yeah. What was your favorite part of it?
There were some good comedy spots with Nino and JD. Roxanne Perez got involved. And I think the biggest moment of this match was when Finn Balor pulled out Demonito to go against Lieska.
What a pop.
Yeah, that went viral, and WWE immediately put up Demonito on sale, WWE Shop, for $100 I don't know what happened there, how that's a price point, I don't know.
That's insane.
I don't know how that's a thing, but...
And you know what? People are buying it.
I did see some people purchasing it, yeah.
That's the crazy thing. People are buying it.
You had La Hydra get involved to fight with Roxanne Perez, but she accidentally knocked Lola Vice by mistake, and that led to the end of the match there. So I'm assuming we're going to see more with the two of them.
I assume so, and I got Lola Vice. She has star written all over her. I feel like she can give you that hard-hitting, strong style sort of a matchup, but also she can give you lucha libre. She can give you a little bit of everything. Very versatile.
I do wish that this wasn't like mixed trios. I wish it was normal for lucha libre, because we would normally see women fight men and vice versa. So kind of missing that aspect there. You had Psycho Clown and Pagano pick up the victory over Los Garza in a street fight to become the new AAA Tag Team Champions. This, I think, was what you could have expected from a match like this, especially with Pagano in this match. I liked, towards the beginning, how Los Garza, they had kendo sticks, and Psycho Clown and Pagano, they went under the ring to grab barbed wire kendo sticks to one-up them. They didn't really get to use them, but I like that. They wrapped at one point, they wrapped Humberto in barbed wire, and Psycho Clown hit a Spanish fly from the top rope to get that victory.
Yeah, very entertaining match, and I do like the spot where Psycho Clown rips off his mask.
Yeah.
I think that's such an innovative spot to have somebody rip off their mask to reveal like kind of a more bloody side of their mask.
I also pop big time, which I guess would also fit under a mark out moment for me. After the match, Murder Clown, Dave the Clown, and Panic Clown all ran down to celebrate. So I wasn't expecting to see Los Psychos Circus there. So that was cool.
all of them appear. I think that's all of them appearing, making their debut with WWE.
Well, I guess technically, if you want to call it that.
Technically, but Los Garza, they did incredible too, on their own.
I was surprised to see them lose. I really thought that they were going to retain the championships.
Yeah, but you know what? I'm excited because I feel like I want to see more of them within AAA, but also I hope that this is. I hope we get to see more Psycho Clown and Pagano and what is it? The Psycho Clown Circus?
Los Psycho Circus.
Los Psycho Circus. Hopefully we could see something like that on Raw or even SmackDown at some point. Have them come up. They give me a very.
I was surprised that Santos Escobar was not there.
True, very true. They give me a very. Obviously, but ICP vibe with the clowns.
I said oddities, so that.
Yeah, you said oddities. Yeah, that's the thing. Like the ICP oddities, kind of a vibe. It would be interesting to see them align themselves with like a few other people, but
I need their theme song. I need their theme song back. I can't I need their actual theme song. I can't take this whatever theme song WWE gave Psycho Clown.
You've been talking about that. I have to go listen to it to actually hear what you're talking about.
It's just the typical circus music, just better.
Mm-hmm. Like Doink the Clown's theme song?
Similar. Which in turn, that
Doink's
could be a
was
reason
good.
why they didn't want to do it, but...
Mm-hmm.
So,
True.
Who knows?
Yeah. Well, next up you had Conan was inducted into the AAA Hall of Fame by Rey Mysterio. Obviously, we know that they're both brothers in the ring, and it was nice little segment to see him get inducted, Conan.
Yeah, I popped big time to see 3LK in the video congratulating Conan on that.
Mm-hmm.
Also, Norman Smiley was cool to see.
Yeah.
After that, Flammer picked up the
agree.
victory over Natalya and Fabi Apache to retain the championship. You had Masquerita Sagrada, El Fantasma, and Lady Shani ringside for this match. I also, throughout the night, they had a bunch of influencers. I felt like that was not needed. I would have preferred to have seen more stars than whoever they were.
Mm-hmm.
But Natalya, I guess you could say for the most part, worked this match as Natty, despite being introduced as Natalya.
Yeah,
So-
there's a big difference between Natty and Natalya.
Also, this match caused a lot of controversy. A lot of people finding out for the first time El Hijo del Tirantes as the referee. I think it's been a long time on American television since we've seen a referee that works heel. So a lot of people were very, very confused about about that.
Ah, so he's a heel referee?
Yeah, he like his father was as well, so.
Ah.
Yeah, so he
Gotcha.
basically, Flammer basically stole this victory, but I thought this was a very, very interesting, very good match. And then
makes
afterwards, Natty and Fabi Apache went at it a bit, so maybe we'll see that, maybe we won't. They announced Worlds Collide in September. Is it September? I think it's in
so.
September. In Las
they mentioned
Vegas,
that.
so maybe we'll see Natty versus Fabi Apache. I don't know.
I mean, I'll get to it. But main event of the evening, you had El Hijo del Vikingo pick up the victory over Dominic Mysterio, El Grande Americano, and Dragon Lee to retain the AAA Mega Championship in a very fast-paced four-way matchup. The crowd hates El Hijo del Vikingo still, though.
The only person not cheered was Vikingo.
Yeah, they got to get over it. He lost.
They
previously
cheered him, but then
I don't
everything
get it.
happened.
I don't understand. Dude, like, just because he defeated Del Rio, that's causing them to hate him.
Yeah,
That's insane.
because Del Rio is one of the biggest stars in Mexico.
That's crazy. Like, I really didn't understand how big of a star Del Rio was until they totally turn on Vikingo, who's hands down, I think, the person who's bringing the newest Lucha Libre into modern wrestling.
And I have to say, it really, really irks me when people are like, Vikingo is washed. Meanwhile, he's just working slower. He's not washed.
I mean, look at the last time he was on, I think, SmackDown. His very first time that he was there.
Monday Night Raw.
Monday Night Raw. So he slowed it down. The first time there was so he slowed it down. Get over it. Stop.
El Grande Americano and Dominic ended up putting him through the commentary, the English commentary at one point. And we saw the Judgment Day get involved. LWO got involved. The other El Grande Americanos got involved. But in the end, we saw Dominic load up his mask. He took everyone out. And somebody showed up in a Rey Mysterio Sr. mask. Black hoodie. Turned out it was AJ Styles who took Dominic Mysterio out. And Vikingo ends up getting that victory.
Yeah. Very entertaining match. And I think great way to end it too, no?
Yeah. A lot of people complained Dominic should have been... How is Dominic and El Grande Americano not the mega champion yet?
Well, weren't they just complaining about El Grande Americano being racist like last month?
Yeah.
Or maybe even last week?
Yes.
But now you want him to be champion?
I
IWC,
still think they would probably
you.
still call it racist as well, but...
We hate you, IWC.
Monday Night Raw kicked off with the Vision. I was not a fan of this segment. They just, to me, rambled.
Mm-hmm.
Jey Uso came out, and Seth Rollins hyped up Braun Breaker. Paul Heyman brought up ECW and how they used to settle differences in the ring with Extreme Rules, basically. Jey Uso said, okay, that's fine. Me versus Braun Breaker, Extreme Rules. I liked Paul Heyman in that segment where he was listing off the ECW superstars to, like, really hype it up.
I was confused about him with the Tommy Dreamer stuff.
I mean, who knows?
Like, we know about his history with Tommy Dreamer, but I was just like, I don't know if that was like...
I don't know if it was a joke or what.
Yeah, like, I felt awkward when I heard that. I was just
not my place at all.
Yeah, I was just like, I hope that he, like, gave a heads... Like, him and Tommy Dreamer spoke about this beforehand or after, because it was just, like, it could have been him slipping up and just, like... I can't see Paul Heyman slipping up, you know? Like, sometimes, as we all do, we can talk and talk and talk, and then we end up, like, he just said right before him the late, what do you say, the late and great Sabu.
Yeah.
And then he went into the late and great Tommy Dreamer, and I was just like, it's hard to think that was an error with his words, because it's
I
Paul
think that
Heyman,
was
and
deliberate.
he's really...
Yeah, I think it was deliberate.
Yeah, I think it was deliberate, and I hope that it was, like... Because I was just like, I feel awkward.
Some other controversy coming from that segment where Paul Heyman brought up the ECW arena being a bingo hall. AEW fans were like...
We've never
fans. Brother, did you see any of those tweets at all?
No.
Paul Heyman deliberately called it a bingo hall because AEW is running there in a month. Mm-hmm. It literally is, maybe still. I don't know if it still is, but it literally was a bingo hall.
Yeah.
They were in Philadelphia. There's no like difference. It was a bingo hall.
Yeah. Why? I don't understand. Like, in interviews with any ECW legend, they always refer to the bingo hall. What did they think that the bingo hall was whenever they heard about this in an interview?
They have that banner still, the bingo hall.
Right?
First match of Monday Night Raw saw Io Sky pick up the victory over Raquel Rodriguez. Before the match, it seemed like Io and Asuka seemingly made up. But the match goes on. Roxanne Perez gets involved, which allowed for Raquel to take over a little bit. Io eventually takes Roxanne out, and she dove onto Raquel as well. But she rolled through, and Raquel slammed Io into the ring post. Io reversed a Tejana bomb and hit that bullet train attack, but she ends up winning the match with the over the moonsault to get the victory. Everything afterwards, though, Roxanne Perez ends up attacking Io. Rhea Ripley makes a save. Huge pop for Rhea Ripley. And then later on, Rhea Ripley apologized to Io for getting involved, but Io thanked her. And then the Kabuki Warriors showed up, and Asuka was beyond pissed off that Rhea Ripley was allowed to help her, and they weren't. And they started yelling. Io yelled and stormed off. And Asuka told Rhea Ripley to stay out of their business. It's very interesting.
A lot taking place within them. And I'm excited, and it's nice because I feel like there's so many women on the roster that this isn't even taking out a chunk of their roster with women. I think that this is a nice little side quest for the entire division, and I feel like there's so much that's going to come out of this.
Did you see the video that Asuka put on her YouTube channel explaining her relationship with Io?
No, I didn't. What did it say?
I thought that was a very well done video. Basically, her saying that she was the not teacher-student sort of thing, but basically that sort of relationship, but they never had that sort of relationship. It was always like, we're friends. Like, they always saw each other on the same level. And they finally, they went their own ways, and then they met back up in WWE, and now I guess it's a rocky road.
Yeah. Well, next up, we ended up having good old Penta pick up the victory over Xavier Woods with the Mexican Destroyer. What was interesting, this is actually the first time that they're facing each other.
I don't care about that. Kofi
first-time
Kingston
matchup.
got involved.
Yeah.
Penta took him out, just like Io did to Roxanne. For me, my favorite part of this match took place last week when Xavier Woods went to SmackDown to ask P.D. Williams for advice on how to reverse the Destroyer. I'm really much so over the outside interference and stuff like that. I thought it was really funny, by the way. Everyone complained, Monday Night Raw is going to end in a DQ finish. And this week they set it up so they can't end in a DQ finish. They do Extreme Rules instead. And they have the same sort of outcome regardless. So I'm just really getting annoyed. Really, really annoyed with all that stuff.
Yeah, I can understand that.
After that, we saw the Judgment Day pick up the victory over Dragon Lee and Mr. Iguana, which was awesome to see Mr. Iguana on Monday Night Raw. I liked when Mr. Iguana was using Finn Balor to walk the rope, and then Dragon Lee tagged himself in, so Mr. Iguana dove to the outside onto JD McDonough. And I was enjoying this match for what it was, but then, of course, Dominic Mysterio got involved and led to Finn Balor hitting the coup de grace to get the victory.
Yeah. I think that it's great to see everything taking place with Mr. Iguana, too.
The aftermath was exciting.
The crowd loves him.
Yeah. The aftermath, you had the Judgment Day attack them, and Vikingo showed up, first of all, Vikingo, I should say, attempted to make the save, because he did make the save at first, but Dominic Mysterio ends up using that Mega Championship to clock Vikingo, and the Judgment Day were able to regroup and take him out. We found out that Dominic will be facing Vikingo for that championship at Worlds Collide in September. I think that's when we'll probably see Dominic win that title. I feel like if you're going to do that sort of match, you probably have to have that. You had Becky Lynch pick up the victory over Natalya to retain the championship. Before this match, they aired a video for Bayley where she now has heel and face Bayley in her head talking to her. Kind of like the angel and devil sitting on each shoulder telling her what to do. And I thought that was great. That was a very well done video promo. Segment, vignette, whatever you would call it.
I agree. I think one of the big things with that promo that it did was it got fans intrigued with what's going to happen. I like how they had the shadow of her behind as well, like you mentioned with the devil aspect. I really like that. I'm curious to see where it's going to go, though, because she was never like a dark character. She was a bully, but not dark. So I'm curious to see what this is going to turn into.
And it was very interesting where you had that line being repeated over and over again. Listen to me, listen to me, listen to me. And then the whole promo creepily ends with how about a hug? I thought that was so well done. But this match Becky Lynch, Natalya. I thought this was a great match. I wish it was a little different. I wish we saw the Natty that we saw at Triplemania. I know you're like hardcore behind that.
Yeah, so it took me a while to really fully understand what was taking place, because we've been supporting and getting behind Natty, and same thing with me, because I'm not a big fan of Natalya, but I respect Natalya. I understand she's one of the best wrestlers within the ring. Her matches, to me, after her teaming with Beth Phoenix, really never really gripped me as much. And maybe it was because of the era of wrestling and stuff like that, or maybe she, in my opinion, never had anybody that was competitive on that level to her. And so now I'm seeing. So I was never really like. I would always on the podcast.
I want to cut you off. I think that era was very much so dumbed down. But then you go and look at matches that she's had in this new era, and it's like a complete 180 from what it was when she started.
Oh, exactly. So from that to now, seeing that, like, if you asked me 3 months ago, well, I guess I would have to say before.
I would say 10 years ago.
No, exactly. But for me, you have to go before, what was it? Josh Barnett's stuff, right?
Yeah.
Before she made her debut there.
Bloodsport.
If you asked me before that, I'd be like, no, she's there to be the person to help backstage and uplift the new people. But now seeing Natty in this Bloodsport aspect, I'm like, okay, she's coming out to Rage Against the Machine. This is a new, mad, angry Natty that has a chip on her shoulder, that she's being overlooked and pushed, like they mentioned on commentary, that she's sick and tired of being the mentor and stuff like that. And I'm like, okay, this is who I want to see. And then I'm seeing Natalya on Monday Night Raw, and to me, to see her tap out as well, seeing her tap out, I'm like,
no, though, she did in this match hurt her arm early on. Whether it's shoot or not, I don't know. She was going around in a sling. I don't know. But
all right, so
she still, regardless, in the match she storyline wise even hurts her arm in the match. So Becky Lynch was able to work on that throughout the match.
Yes. So what I think now is that after you spoke to me about it and everything, and because I wasn't really putting it together. And then they spoke about it on other podcasts and stuff like that, and I was just like, okay, now it makes sense to me. All right, so you had Nikki Bella interrupt the match, post-match, and everything like that. We're going to have Becky Lynch versus Nikki Bella. But now maybe this is going to become something where Natalya, everybody, like maybe Nikki Bella's looking at Natalya to be that nice person to help her out or something like that. And then we see Natty, just this shift from Natalya to Natty at some point. And I would like to see, and this, I've never thought I would say something like this. I would love to see Natty go on a tear. And unfortunately, I think that this tear that she's about to go on, with the potential that she could go on, I'm happy that it's Natty, but it should have been Shayna Baszler too.
I don't think you can compare the two, really. It's
but
just
even still,
I understand what you're saying, and we should have seen Shayna Baszler in a position like that. We did at one point see Shayna Baszler, literally the only person to ever eliminate every single person in the Elimination Chamber by themselves. I think with Shayna Baszler, but I think it's a tad bit different here.
Exactly. You understand where I'm coming from, but it's different. And that it's totally different. But I would love to have seen Shayna Baszler coming out of that Bloodsport just go on an absolute tear as well. But I'm happy to see that Natty is going to do it. In
this segment, I liked Becky Lynch. First of all, in the match, she took out Maxine and Akira Tozawa, and taps Natty out with that disarm her. Afterwards, though, she wasn't letting up. Maxine kind of shows some fortitude and breaks it up. I feel like that's not something we would normally see from Maxine.
Yeah.
And then she was the one that got locked in that until Nikki Bella interrupted and made the save.
And I think that Maxine has great potential. I think Maxine, not Nikki, I think that Maxine could be the person that causes Natty to come out. Like, I could see Natty, like Natalya start the match, but then after the match, I could see Natty just rip apart Maxine. We've seen Maxine sell.
I don't think Natty needs to be a heel.
But it doesn't necessarily... I feel like when she does that switchover, she doesn't have to be... I can't see her getting booed. I could see her being...
You can't
kind of like a Kevin
possibly
Owens.
have Natty attack Maxine Dupree and be cheered.
Look at Braun Breaker. People chanting to him one more time, but he's a heel.
I don't think that's the same.
I feel like it could be the same.
After
I could see Natty turn on her.
After that segment, we had Naomi come out, and they announced immediately following this segment there will be a special edition of Stephanie's podcast with her and Jimmy Uso, which all but confirmed the news. But Naomi came out, and they played the rest of the clip where Jimmy announced that Naomi is pregnant. So I'm glad that she's not injured. There was a lot of speculation where people had no idea what was going on with Naomi. She was still a heel during this segment. And she's like, I'm not handing this title over to you, to Adam Pearce. And she made Adam Pearce leave. This whole segment was amazing. And she said all the women in the back should be thanking Jimmy Uso. I popped big time for her saying that the bloodline will continue. And then she laid out her title on the mat and said that when she comes back, she's coming back where she left off.
I really like that. She said how if she's coming back, breastfeeding and stuff like that, she's coming back. And I like how you had kind of two different characters in this. You had her kind of break character a little bit, watching the clip where you saw the tears coming down her face, but then you saw her kind of just snap right back into it and get that aggression back. Yeah, I'm excited for her
very
to come
well
in.
done. Which again, then
I agree.
There's people who were saying, "Oh, WWE and Naomi knew she was pregnant, and they still sent her out for all these matches."
First off, how do they know that they knew that she was pregnant?
She literally said she found out last week or whatever it was.
Exactly. How does she know that she was pregnant? She said that she found out last week. A lot of women don't find out that they're pregnant. It could be months down the line sometimes. Sometimes
you
your
don't
menstrual
even find
cycle...
out.
Exactly. Sometimes your menstrual cycle is going to shift and stuff like that. Sometimes it won't. So all these fans in the IWC getting on Naomi about this and WWE about this, they got nothing better to do.
Don't say fans. Don't say fans.
True. I apologize. IWC, you are not fans. You're just trolls.
That was part of the podcast where Naomi said something like she's worried that the fans, she would feel like she's letting the fans down, and I really truly hope she doesn't feel like that. I hope she knows that if you call yourself a fan and you're like, well, this is on Naomi, the only person who could say that and get away with that was Becky Lynch. That was quite possibly one of the funniest tweets I've ever seen.
Exactly. And you know what? This is a great moment for her. And Uso. So why is everybody gonna...
Especially when Naomi said it herself, she didn't think she would even be able to have kids.
Yeah.
So,
and like you said, for reference, this happened to Becky.
Yeah.
Which is why the tweet was so hilarious, because same thing happened to her.
This is the third, I think, the third pregnant champion in WWE history.
I was going to say, the first, is that Kong?
No. She was not champion. It was Maria Kanellis. She won the 24/7 championship while she was pregnant.
Oh, yeah. Uh-huh.
And then Becky Lynch and now Naomi.
What happened? I feel like Kong was about to be champion then. Maybe
She was
wasn't champion.
she was just going into a storyline where she was killing the divas.
Gotcha. She was fantastic. I wish we could see her make some sort of a revival.
I wish so too.
Next up, main event of the evening. Jey Uso picked up the victory over Braun Breaker. And this was in an Extreme Rules matchup. Weapons, violence. It was awesome.
Big pop for Jey Uso coming out dressed as New Jack with the shopping cart and everything. I thought that was awesome. The match, Braun Breaker, I'd say controlled most of this. I liked him doing that apron clothesline to the commentary table with the garbage can. We saw Jey Uso at one point counter Braun Breaker's spear with a spear. Hit another spear, hit an Uso splash, and then, wouldn't you know, Bronson Reed gets involved, rips the referee out of the ring, takes Jey Uso out. LA Knight shows up and attacked Bronson Reed. Seth Rollins attacked Jey Uso. He attacked LA Knight. And then CM Punk came out. He attacked Seth Rollins. LA Knight got back into it, and they continued to fight until Seth Rollins thumbed CM Punk in the eyes and sent him into LA Knight, who fell through, off the apron, fell through a table that was set up ringside. Braun Breaker set up a table in the ring. Jey Uso super kicks him onto it, and before he could do an Uso splash, Bronson Reed attacks him. Braun Breaker goes to spear Jey, and then Roman Reigns showed up. And he took out Braun Breaker. He attacked Bronson Reed, and Jey Uso super kicked Braun Breaker onto the table. He splashed him through that table and got that victory in the main event. If they just do matches like that and like not have every episode end in a DQ, just like once in a while, it'd be fine. Less outside interaction.
Less is more. Sometimes.
Moving over to NXT, which also took place in Philadelphia this week. You saw Josh Briggs pick up the victory over Inamura in a Philadelphia street fight. The show opens up with Briggs and Inamura brawling backstage, led right into their match. There was a very interesting ring setup because it was on like a platform. So it allowed for Inamura to dive off that platform at like the very beginning of this match. But Josh Briggs at one point, he taped up Inamura to the ropes, beat him with a kendo stick. Very similar that we've seen stuff like that in ECW. Inamura broke free of the electrical tape or whatever tape it was and broke a kendo stick in half with his bare hands. He then puts a garbage can over Josh Briggs' head. I don't think I've ever seen anybody do this before. Chops the garbage can with his bare hand. Could you, in your brain, ever remember seeing somebody do that?
No, nothing comes to mind.
I was blown away by that. And then I think he used a baseball bat on that as well. Josh Briggs gets out of the garbage can. He's busted open. Inamura at one point sets him up on a table for a splash, and Josh Briggs gets up. He used a chain, only to have Inamura punch him back. Josh Briggs falls back onto the table. He hits that splash. Inamura goes and gets more tables, and Josh Briggs ends up hitting that lariat with the chain. He hits that moonsault onto Inamura through the table to get that victory. Very, very well done match. I don't know where either of them go from here, though.
I really don't know. Next up, you had Ricky Saints pick up the victory over Jasper Troy. This was a nice back and forth battle with, I would think, a surprising finish.
I think it could have been more exciting to me. But yeah, Ricky Saints, he hit one previously. He won with the Tornado DDT. I did like in this match that running senton that Jasper Troy attempted on the steps. Sort of a throwback to the senton on the stage that we didn't really get to see, that he fell through. But I don't know. Ricky Saints needs something big in NXT now. I don't know. This is the same thing as the other match. I don't know where either of them go from here.
I know. I feel like there's so much potential on this roster, but it's hard to predict what's the next direction for all of these people.
I mean, that's another big question in that next segment too.
Exactly. We spoke about it last week, but the next segment, Jordan Grace taking on Blake Monroe. Jordan Grace had a face-to-face with Blake Monroe, and this segment, it was just pure electricity to the point where you had Jordan Grace take out. Well, first you had Jordan Grace talking about how she never had somebody speak in that sort of manner. She never expected something like this to happen, bullying, yada, yada. And then Blake Monroe coming out with security guards only to have them get taken out by Jordan Grace. And Jordan Grace, what I like the most.
Blake Monroe had it added to the contract where if Jordan Grace touches Blake Monroe before the match is off.
Exactly.
Which I don't know why. Why would Jordan Grace need to do that?
Just added effect.
I did like Jordan Grace bringing up that Blake Monroe was left off the Evolution card and not being a main character. And Blake Monroe kept antagonizing her to try to get her to attack her, but Jordan Grace, like you said, attacked the security instead. I think it was decent acting from Blake Monroe. Ultimately, though, this was a very, very weak segment for me.
I liked it. What I liked a lot was Jordan Grace grabbing Blake Monroe instead of grabbing the mic. She grabbed her wrist.
That was the best part of the segment, I think.
Yeah, and I feel like I've seen this before by someone, but I can't recall who. But I like that a lot, that she grabbed her wrist to speak into the microphone instead of grabbing the mic. Next up, you had Fatal Influence pick up the victory over Elegance Brand, which is JC Jane, Fallon Henley, taking on Ash by Elegance.
Jasmine Nix.
Yeah, Jasmine Nix. I thought that it was decent.
I like this a lot. Masha Slamovich was the guest referee. The personal concierge ends up getting involved, and Masha tossed him from ringside. The Elegance Brand was very, very entertaining in this match, and I thought it was nice to see them on television. I think it's interesting because they're both heel stables, and Fatal Influence were being cheered in this match. The one thing that really irked me was when, at one point, Masha focused ringside and not in the actual ring, which basically screwed Ash by Elegance out of the victory. If she was a shoot referee, I would have been really, really annoyed with that spot. Because we see referees all the time focus on stuff that's not in the match, and that really annoys me.
I agree with you.
So I would definitely like to see more of the Elegance Brand on TV. Whether or not that happens, I don't know.
Yeah, I agree. Next up, we had the USA-Canada Peace Treaty take place. I thought that this was a fun segment.
Yeah, I liked that Ethan Page and Chelsea Green had the Secret Hervis get rid of the table beforehand, just for a precaution. But
genius.
But Ethan Page put Tavion Heights over big time, and he said his issue is the way that he looks at him. And I liked him bringing up how there's no second or third, like the Olympics. It's just, I'm champion, you're not. I think the back and forth between TMS and Chelsea Green was very good. I think it was really well done from Tavion Heights as well. And I think it sets up both of them to be big stars in NXT. And Ava ends up setting up a match for Heatwave where the basically, I guess, USA versus Canada.
Yeah.
Ethan Page and Chelsea Green went to attack first, but the Americans blocked it and locked both of them in the ankle lock.
Americans got to win, no?
And then the Secret Hervis pulled them out of the ring, and Ethan Page is like, me too, or whatever. I forget what exactly
I thought that
he
was
said.
hilarious, but something I liked a lot was that Ethan Page, as he got dragged out of the ring, he also grabbed the championship to bring with him.
Right.
I thought that was smart.
Yeah, good segment there. The main event saw Javon Evans pick up the victory over Trick Williams to become the number one contender to Obafemi's NXT Championship. I think this was a fun match. But the greatest moment of this match, maybe the greatest moment in pro wrestling this week, maybe, asterisk, Trick Williams caught Javon Evans on his springboard and literally threw him from that rope through the commentary table. I don't know how Javon Evans got up from that. I feel like he shouldn't have been up from that. I don't know how Javon Evans was able to come back and win from that even.
Mm-hmm. But
Trick went for that trick shot, and instead of Obafemi being up in that balcony, his eyes caught Mike Santana up there. And that stopped Trick in his tracks. And that was funny to say. And Javon ends up getting the victory off of that. And then NXT literally cut 10 p.m. for the news. I was like, what is this? And they apparently afterwards they had Obafemi and Javon Evans stare each other down. So, damn CW network there.
CW,
but it was a good close.
Yeah,
leading to NXT or WWE Heatwave taking place in Lowell, Massachusetts at the Lowell Memorial Auditorium. I assume they're not adding any other matches, but we're going to see Blake Monroe versus Jordan Grace. I think Blake Monroe has to win this match, but I don't, like I said before, I don't know where either of them go from here.
I'm going to say Blake Monroe and Jordan Grace gets the call coming up.
Hank and Tank taking on two members of Dark State for the NXT Tag Team Championships. This is, for me, a hard one to call. I'm going to say Hank and Tank, but I could very, very easily see Dark State getting those titles.
I feel like Dark State has been doing so much right now, but Hank and Tank are so entertaining. I'm going to go with Dark State.
For the TNA Knockouts Championship, JC Jane defended the title against Masha Slamovich and Ash by Elegance. I would really like to see JC Jane retain.
I'm gonna go with Ash
and by the way,
Elegance.
We didn't mention it before. There's a strong possibility that we could see Lainey Reed get involved. She was with she was kind of hanging out with Fatal Influence on NXT. I wouldn't put it past.
I'm going Ash by Elegance.
That's I think a bolder prediction than JC retaining.
Yeah, I agree with you. Next up, a triple threat match to determine the number one contendership for the NXT Women's Championship. Jada Parker taking on Kalani Jordan and Lola Vice. I'm going to say Lola Vice.
This is another difficult one.
Who you got?
I'm going to say Lola Vice, too.
Okay. All right.
Mixed tag team action. We have Chelsea Green and Ethan Page taking on Tyra May Steele and Tavion Heights. USA versus Canada. It has to be USA. I would be very shocked if Chelsea Green and Ethan Page win.
I know. It's so tough because, like, both of those wrestlers, like, Chelsea Green could put over anybody and she's still going to be a top character. I'm going to agree with you. I'm going Tara May Steele and Tavion Heights.
And then for the NXT Championship, Obafemi defending the championship against Javon Evans.
I'm going Obafemi.
Yeah, I'm going to say Obafemi also.
I can't see Javon Evans defeating him.
Maybe.
That was WWE Heatwave. Let's head on over and talk about some SmackDown.
It kicked off with Becky Lynch, and I was very surprised to see Becky Lynch on SmackDown, but they were in Dublin, Ireland, and it was the first televised event from Dublin. She buttered the crowd up and and then said that they don't deserve live television. They don't deserve any of that, and I thought that was great. That popped me. And then the fans were chanting, "We want Lyra," which popped me more. I think this was a great heel promo from Becky Lynch. Then Tiffany Stratton interrupted and told Becky Lynch she could leave, and she was super over. And Tiffany said that if Becky Lynch doesn't want to leave, she'll make her leave. And then Nia Jax came out and attacked Tiffany Stratton. Becky Lynch joined in. Jade Cargill made the save. Nick Aldis made that the main event, so I'll put a pin in that. Backstage, Axiom had told Carmelo Hayes that he was impressed with his match last week. He was impressed with Carmelo Hayes. Nathan Fraser, on the other hand, tried to warn Carmelo about The Miz. And The Miz showed up and tried to tell Nathan Fraser off, but Carmelo Hayes actually did that for him. And then we go into the next match where we see Mello Don't Miz pick up the victory over the Motor City Machine Guns. Miz, very, very surprisingly, was actually being cheered here. I think that was wild to hear. But this was an enjoyable match. Mello Don't Miz ended up arguing, though, because Miz, again, towards the end, tagged himself in when Carmelo Hayes was going for nothing but net, like last week. And the Miz, stuff happens. Carmelo ends up hitting that code breaker. Miz crawls back into the ring with all the distraction going on and gets the victory there. I don't know. Next week, I think they said if they win, they could potentially become number one contenders. You had Piper Niven pick up the victory over Charlotte Flair. Alexa Bliss, Wade Barrett said that she wasn't medically cleared to be there, so that's unfortunate. I was surprised to see Chelsea Green there. She has Heatwave on Sunday, but Chelsea Green got involved. I don't think that was necessary. The match, I think, would have still been fine without that. But I did not expect Piper Niven to kick out of that moonsault from Charlotte Flair. She also kicked out of the first attempt of the figure eight. Ate a spear. Chelsea Green got involved again. Alba Fire distracted the referee. That led to Chelsea Green actually cheating. And Piper getting that win. I would say that's a big win for Piper Niven. After that, we had John Cena immediately cut off by Logan Paul before he could even say anything. The crowd absolutely hated Logan Paul, though. Heavily bleeped, heavily booed. He called John Cena a corporate pawn and an imposter. And then Logan Paul brought up the 5 moves of doom. I really hope, because that line was added in there, I really hope we see the Lightning Fist at Clash in Paris. It seems to be a thing of the past, though. But John Cena, he put Logan Paul over. And he said the things that he believes to be true about Logan Paul upset him. And he called Logan Paul a disappointment because Logan Paul just uses WWE as a branding opportunity. And he said it's what Logan Paul can take from the business rather than what Logan Paul can give to the business. It came to blows after Logan Paul kept pushing John Cena. Logan Paul ate an attitude adjustment. I think regardless of whether or not other people see it like this, that match at Clash in Paris might also be a passing of the torch. Because if John Cena is saying Logan Paul will be a WWE champion someday, then I fully expect that. Backstage, Drew McIntyre told Logan Paul to think about what he did to Cody Rhodes and to do whatever it takes to prove that he's not scared of John Cena and to basically get him back. So I'll put a pin in that. We also saw Drew McIntyre, hijack the show later on, and he spoke about Cody Rhodes. Randy Orton showed up, hit him with an RKO. We saw the Street Profits pick up the victory over MFT. I think the match was fine. Ultimately, I could have done without it. I did like when Montez Ford rolled through a move that Jeff Cobb was about to do. But then Solo Sikoa distracted the referee. Tala Tonga knocked Montez Ford off the top rope. Montez ends up eating a tour of the islands. Tala Tonga got involved again. Jimmy Uso attacked him with a chair, and then they brawled off into the crowd. Sami Zayn showed up and attacked Solo Sikoa. The segment earlier with the Bloodline and Solo Sikoa I thought was really funny. With Solo talking about Jimmy naming the kid after him. And then as far as the match goes, I actually thought that MFT would win because of all the outside interference. But the Street Profits came back, got that victory. I feel like it undoes what that backstage segment was the other week where Street Profits walked off angrily with one another or at each themselves, however it was. Aleister Black versus R-Truth actually did not happen. It was supposed to, but R-Truth appeared on the screen. It said that he flew to Dublin, Georgia by mistake, and he has someone that wants to actually fight. Damian Priest came out. He and Aleister Black brawled. Time-wise, I was wondering how they would be fitting another match in there, which maybe they could have, but that's what they did with that segment. So Aleister Black versus R-Truth, perhaps maybe next week. We'll have to see. In the main event, we saw Tiffany Stratton and Jade Cargill pick up the victory over Becky Lynch and Nia Jax. I liked pretty early on in the match, Tiffany Stratton did that swanton to the outside onto Becky Lynch and Nia Jax. A loud thump from that, though. But she hit another swanton later on in the match to Nia Jax in the ring. Jade Cargill followed that up with a frog splash, got the victory off of that. I would have liked for there to have been more to this match, especially as the main event, especially with the champion, especially with Becky Lynch as the Intercontinental Champion being from Ireland. I think they needed to do more with this match. But they roll the credits, and you had to know something else was happening because of that promo earlier with John Cena and Logan Paul. They cut to backstage where John Cena is walking out. Nick Aldis approaches him. He says that he heard from Lesnar. And as soon as he said that, Logan Paul showed up, knocked John Cena out of nowhere, took off running. I think that was a great ending. Not 100% what I was expecting when Drew McIntyre basically told Logan Paul to get back at John Cena. I was expecting some blood perhaps, but maybe that doesn't really fit. So that's SmackDown. Gonna take a quick little break and I'll be right back here on Markin Out.
This is Josh Briggs and you're listening to Marking Out.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Markin Out episode 759. Moving back to AEW Collision from last week. It opened with the Death Riders picking up the victory over Jet Speed. I think it's absolutely believable that Jet Speed can take Wheeler Yuta on. I don't think it's believable at all that they can take Jon Moxley on. At one point, you saw Kevin Knight had Wheeler Yuta in a backslide pin, and Marina Shafir literally pulls Kevin Knight out of the ring, and the referee thinks nothing of it. And that really pissed me off. Because in what world, where did the referee think that he went? The opponent's in the ring. And then all of a sudden he slides out of the ring? That made no sense to me. I thought it was interesting to see Speedball throw Marina Shafir into the steps. But that spot beforehand, man, that backslide pin was just garbage. And then later on, Kevin Knight is about to get the victory. Marina Shafir rushes the ring. and grabs the referee, fakes a shoulder injury. Garbage spots. You had Ricochet pick up the victory over Ace Austin. Ace Austin now signed with AEW. I really hope we see him used better than Josh Alexander. I don't really care that he lost his debut match, but, and I also wish that the Gates of Agony weren't involved as much as they were. I do think that Ace Austin could have won this match, and they could have done their tag stuff afterwards regardless, but it's just one match, and I do really hope, because I had such high hopes when Josh Alexander came to AEW, and now he's just beyond lost in the shuffle of the Don Callis family. But I'll put a pin in Ace Austin. You have the Undisputed Paragon pick up the victory over Blake Christian and Lee Johnson. I think Roderick Strong and Kyle O'Reilly are too good to just be in random tag matches like this. I assume it will eventually lead to Roderick Strong joining the conglomeration, rather than have him turn heel on Kyle O'Reilly and then them go their separate ways without Adam Cole being there. I think we'll see another member of the conglomeration. You had Chris Statlander pick up the victory over Julia Hart, Penelope Ford, and Anna Jay to win the $100,000 Fatal 4-Way, because why not have random matches that mean absolutely nothing? I liked the match, but I hate that it's always just random stuff for the women. And I shouldn't say just for the women, because it happens for the men also. I thought the sleeper spot in this match was cool. I do wish that Chris Statlander was able to walk more with Anna Jay and Julia on her back before Penelope Ford hit that dropkick. But Chris Statlander ends up making Julia Hart tap out to get the victory. Tekla and Sky Blue showed up. Queen Aminata joined in. Ty Mello and Megan Bain showed up. They all brawled. And Harley Cameron made the heels scatter. You had Juice Robinson pick up the victory over Brian Keith. I feel like they should stick Ace Austin with the Bang Bang Gang, given his and Juice's history being in the Bullet Club. I really feel like in this match, nothing really happened outside of Big Bill getting involved and Austin Gunn taking him out. Maybe it would be a mistake to have Ace Austin and Austin Gunn in the same group, but I think right now the Bang Bang Gang doesn't have anything. Ace Austin just got there. It would be interesting. Main event saw Nigel McGuinness pick up the victory over Daniel Garcia, H. Cesaro, and Lee Moriarty to advance to Forbidden Door to face Zack Sabre Jr. I think when this match was announced, you'd have to have been a moron to think it was going to be anybody else other than Nigel McGuinness. But I think it was interesting that people were annoyed that Nigel McGuinness won this match. He always gets huge pops from the crowd, but some people on the internet I saw heavily complaining because they thought Zack Sabre Jr. deserved a real opponent and not a retired commentator. I think the match, the ending of this match I thought was interesting, where Nigel and Daniel Garcia both had submissions locked in. Lee Moriarty tapped before Daniel Garcia could get H. Cesaro to tap. And then Nigel asked Daniel Garcia to be in his corner at the pay-per-view. Does that lead to Daniel Garcia turning on Nigel McGuinness, perhaps? I think that would be interesting. I don't need to see it, though. Moving over to AEW Dynamite, you had Bryan Danielson on commentary the full show. This was at the OVO something, not arena, in Glasgow, Scotland. But the OVO Hydro, maybe? But Will Ospreay and Jon Moxley opened the show with their face-to-face. Will Ospreay spoke about getting blackout drunk in Scotland when he was younger. And I don't understand why that was necessary to add, especially when he's in a match against Jon Moxley. And then Will Ospreay brought up how he's not medically cleared for Forbidden Door. But because it's a lights out match, he can do what he wants. He accepts all responsibility. And he said that if Jon Moxley wants to get rid of him, do it himself. Then Jet Speed showed up. No pop for Jet Speed. They brawled a little bit with the Death Riders. Tanahashi came out. Took forever to get in the ring. And then it led right into their match where Tanahashi and Jet Speed picked up the victory of the Death Riders. Of course, Marina Shafir got involved. The referee ejected her from ringside. Will Ospreay ended up carrying her to the back for some reason. The Bullet Club got involved. Referee did not do anything for that. It led to Will Ospreay coming out with a body bag, which they teased being Marina Shafir, but it ends up being Darby Allin. In the meantime, though, the Death Riders are beating down everybody with a giant advantage. And he's just laying there in a body bag doing nothing until the Death Riders get up to him. I thought was a goofy save because he's not really saving anybody there. As far as this match goes, it was sad watching. It's sad watching Tanahashi wrestle in 2025. He always looks like he's injured. He can't walk. He can't run. The whole first 30 minutes of Dynamite I thought were awful. Meanwhile, they're doing all this stuff on with the Death Riders. Bryan Danielson on commentary, literally nothing. The last time we saw him, he was involved with the Death Riders. The Op showed up for some reason. Bryan Danielson did nothing. Jon Moxley didn't even look at Bryan Danielson. I don't think any of the Death Riders did. You had Edge and Christian in the ring. Christian was still a heel. And Edge told him to stop. And then Christian said that this team is out of necessity and nothing beyond that. You had Kip Sabian and Shayna Wayne come out. Kip called Christian pathetic. Nick Wayne appeared on the screen with crutches and said that Edge broke Nick Wayne's foot last week. So he's not medically cleared. It's too bad this wasn't a lights out match. So a new partner, a video airs, somebody in a black jacket injecting people. Turns out it's Luchasaurus. He makes his return. Edge gets chokeslammed. Christian has a quick stare down and then he eats a chokeslam. A lot of people speculating that was Jack Perry, who we have not seen in maybe a year. They were speculating that was Jack Perry giving him the medicine and stuff. It's great that Luchasaurus is back. I'm happy that he's able to continue to wrestle. I still think this whole Edge and Christian thing was rushed. This week gave a little bit more on Christian's side, at least. Not Edge's side. Edge is still like, we're friends, pal. Which makes no sense. After everything that everything Christian did to Edge, Edge should want zero to do with Christian. Christian gave it like, oh, this is out of necessity. Beyond that, we don't have anything. I feel like that should be the other way around. You had Brodito versus FTR end in a time limit draw. Of course, Stokely got involved multiple times. Brody King just randomly busted open. If you're the referee, what's going through your head when both members of FTR are in the ring and you turn around as the referee, Brody is just gushing blood? What's the thought in your head? I don't understand that. And as far as this match goes, after a while, I was assuming this was going to lead to a draw, and I was very much so hoping I was wrong. And it led to a draw. There was a moment at one point where Bandito did a move, and I thought for sure that was going to be the end of the match, but they kept going, and that was the end of that. Now it sets up a triple threat at Forbidden Door. Hangman came out, and he said that MJF doesn't have the courage to face him before their match. And his music hits. But they cut to backstage where Mark Briscoe's tied up with Ricochet in the Gates of Agony. And MJF is basically about to light him on fire. He already stated that if Hangman leaves the ring, he's getting set on fire. He needs to have Hangman listen to his demands. The title, for one, can change on a disqualification, a count out, and he doesn't have to use that contract for Forbidden Door to get that match. Obviously, Hangman agrees to that. Eventually, Hangman runs to the back. Ricochet was very scared in that segment. I thought that was quite hilarious. But I think best case scenario for Forbidden Door is MJF wins the title via disqualification because Mark Briscoe shows up and attacks MJF. I think that would be great. Back on Collision, you had Tony Storm cut a promo on Athena. It led to Athena and Billy Starks attacking Tony Storm. Mina Shirakawa eventually showed up. And then on the main event of Dynamite, you saw Athena and Mercedes pick up the victory over Alex Windsor and Tony Storm. I feel like Mina Shirakawa and Billy Starks should have also been in that match. And I really wanted to like this match. The officiating was just absolute garbage. It was it was just awful. After the match, Mercedes got in Persephone's face. Persephone pushed Mercedes to the ground. It doesn't really do much for that match, but you have Forbidden Door taking place at the O2 Arena, London, England. I'm sure there's going to be more matches announced, but just running up the card, you have that tag team match, Adam Copeland, Christian, taking on Kip Sabian and Killswitch, or Luchasaurus. I don't know which the name is. I am going to say Edge and Christian, hopefully. Although, probably not. I'm going to say Kip Sabian and Luchasaurus pick up the victory there. For the AEW Championship, I don't know even where this will sit in the card. Hangman versus MJF. I'm going to say hopefully MJF. For the IWGP Heavyweight Championship, Zack Sabre Jr. defending the championship against Nigel McGuinness. Zack Sabre Jr. TNT Championship, Kyle Fletcher versus Takahashi. I'm going to say Kyle Fletcher there. TBS Championship on the line, Mercedes Moné versus Alex Windsor versus Persephone versus Bozilla. This is a four-company, well, not really a four-company, but technically a four-company match. I'm going to say Mercedes retains. You have, three-company. You have the AEW Women's World Championship on the line. Timeless Toni Storm defending the championship against Athena. I really hope it's Athena. I'm going to say Athena. For the AEW Unified Championship, Okada versus Swerve. Oh, don't really care. I'm going to say Okada. For the Tag Team Championships, Hurt Business versus Brodito versus FTR. I'm going to say the Hurt Business retain. Lights Out Steel Cage match. I don't know what this match is even. They have blood and guts. They have cage matches. I don't know what this will be. You have Kenny Omega, Kota Ibushi, Darby Allin, Tanahashi, Will Ospreay versus the Death Riders and Gabe Kidd. I am going to say Tanahashi, Ospreay, Darby Allin, Kenny Omega, and Ibushi. So that's AEW Forbidden Door. Hey, Brandon, got any shout-outs?
Hi, this is Casey Kasem, and up next on the American Top 40, Brandon shout-outs.
Leanne is a new comedic sitcom out on Netflix starring Leanne Morgan. Have you seen anything about this or no?
I don't even know who you're talking about.
Well, she is a comedian. She co-created the series with Susan McMartin and Chuck Lorre. Kristen Johnson, Celia Weston, Blake Clark, Ryan Stiles, Graham Rogers all star in it as well. There are some other big names on the show, but Leanne's husband ends up leaving her for a younger woman, and she has to navigate I guess basically that life shift. And I think this is a show that could draw a lot of older people to Netflix, but I think younger people would watch and enjoy it as well. I enjoyed the show. I hope it gets renewed for another season. I can't see it not being renewed. And I think it has a lot of really good reviews online. And like I said, I think a lot of older people would find themselves enjoying this. If this was on network, I could see them pulling very high ratings. So check that out on Netflix. My next shout out, it's the 10-year anniversary of NXT TakeOver Brooklyn. I can't believe it's been 10 years already.
That's crazy.
It was the biggest NXT show at that time, and I think it just absolutely, totally delivered. Not every match was perfect, but this show was, for me, as close to perfect that I could hope to see. Some big standout moments on that card. I still seeing Jushin Liger wrestle in a WWE ring against Tyler Breeze. I think that was awesome. And I will never, ever, ever stop saying that it should have been the main event. Bayley versus Sasha Banks for that NXT Women's Championship. I wish I could bottle that energy up and relive that over and over and over again. That is literally, I'll say this over and over again as well, my favorite match I've ever seen. So it's absolutely insane that it's been 10 years. I wish I could relive that moment over and over again. But my last shout out goes to Back to the Frontier, which is a show from the Magnolia Network. I don't know what the Magnolia Network is, but I saw it on HBO Max. And it follows three families as they leave modern life to become 1880s homesteaders. This is a reality-based program. It's been on for a few weeks now. Well, more than a few weeks. But I think it's the perfect summer reality TV show. And I definitely would not be able to live like that at all. It would be cool to show up for 30 minutes, but 8 weeks, I don't think I would ever be able to do that at all.
No, I'm not surviving. I know that much.
And I think it might be the finale next week, so that's unfortunate. But like I said, that's on HBO Max. You could check that out there. And those are my shout-outs. Now it's time for
Mark Out Moment of the Week.
That is right, our Mark Out Moment of the Week. What do you got?
Oh, what do I got, brother? I marked out for that moment with Omos. I thought that him going into that ring and just tearing it apart. I thought that the spot where, what was the wrestler again?
Microman?
Yeah, where he tossed Microman.
I had to show my Nana that spot. I had to show my niece that spot.
I mean, I thought that was just an incredible spot, but also you got to think about from Microman, the amount of trust to put into Omos from that. Like that, when you think about that,
I mean, put into the trust for everyone else that was catching him on the outside.
Yeah, the trust from everybody catching him and Omos. I thought that was just incredible. What a spot! Otis's spots in the matchup as well, marked out for that. Just a lot of this stuff from Triplemania, marking out for Mr. Iguana coming out big.
I mean, yeah, like I said, Dr. Wagner Jr. being there and Los Psycho Circus, that was top tier for me.
Yeah, that was just incredible moments. And then I think that's something I also marked out for was WWE's announcement of WrestlePalooza taking place on ESPN earlier than originally thought.
An absolute mess of a launch of an app.
September 20th.
Which people were like, oh, where did people get this name? WWE is so unoriginal. They're pointing to Lollapalooza posters. And it's that's a possibility that ECW at one point got their name from Lollapalooza, but it's an ECW name event. Do research. It's on Peacock. If you type WrestlePalooza, there's one on there.
Yeah, crazy IWC out there.
And then ultimately, I will say Jey Uso doing the New Jack stuff. And I'll say Naomi's segment with her. Also Bayley's segment, too. Both of those were great.
Mm-hmm.
So that is Markin Out. That's the Markin Out moment of the week. That's Markin Out, episode 759. Thank you so much for tuning in. You can follow us on Twitter at Markin Out, at BTTG161, at Chris Sweendog, CM Sweeney85, David PTDPT, Facebook.com/Markin Out, YouTube and Instagram Markin Out 11. Follow us on TikTok at Markin Out, ProWrestlingTees.com/Markin Out. Rate, review, subscribe, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Spotify Podcasts, YouTube, MarkinOut.com, and we wish you the best of luck
in your future
endeavors. Have a fantastic week.